I wound up finding this 1981 interview between Phil Donahue and Bernie Sanders. And I just thought it might be fun for us to go over. Might be fun to see Bernie backbeat when he was just the mayor of Burlington, you know? So let's take a look.
Face it, you don't find too many socialists in elective office in this country, and one is elected mayor of a sizable city. Well, that's news. It's also Phil.
Also, she talks like she's about to deliver a punchline, and I kind of love it.
Donahue's topic this morning.
Good morning, Jane. A couple of facts. Burlington is the largest city in Vermont. The state has about 500,000 people. Burlington has about 38,000. Situated as it is on Lake Champlain with the Adirondack Mountains viewable, it's a lovely, lovely spot in this country. We'd like you to meet its new mayor. This is Mayor Bernard Sanders. Mayor Sanders got a lot of attention recently, not only with his 10-vote victory out of about 9,500 votes cast, but mostly because he is a socialist. And everybody reading that article said...
Okay, can I say something so controversial yet so brave? Young Bernie Sanders. Kind of hot. Kind of hot. Not gonna lie. Kind of hot. I would.
But mostly because he is a socialist. And everybody reading that article said, my goodness, how did this happen in good old conservative Vermont?
How old is he here? I mean, in this interview, he's literally 43 years younger. So.
How do you respond?
Well, in Vermont, being conservative is different perhaps than being conservative elsewhere in the country. Also, what I think most people don't know is Vermont happens to be one of the very poorest states in the country, and although we're a little bit better off in Burlington, we still have enormous economic problems. I won the election, I think, because we effectively put together a coalition of low-income people, elderly people who in Vermont are very often up against the wall economically, in very bad shape. Some of our city trade unions...
the cops supported you, didn't they?
The police department supported us, yes. The Patrolmen's Association did, right.
So you had police officers voting for you who probably voted for Ronald Reagan.
Well, I'm not so sure that I don't know, if I can say that.
But that's certainly...
But the police officers in our particular city are earning, they're trade unionists, and they're earning very low wages, and along with many other workers in our city want some fundamental change. Also, we have in our city particular problems, I believe, with the police department that they've been concerned about, very low morale. So it didn't particularly surprise me.
How...
Like, dude's already kicking ass. Like, look at how he's describing in detail here, basically, by appealing to the economic interests of, like, a broad populist base, he was able to win over people who also voted for the opposition party. Like, I don't know, it's been 43 years. You'd think we'd have learned by now. This is why we need people who actually know how to do, like, economic reform in a leftist manner. We need those people in office, in the Democratic Party and beyond. We need those people out in the world at large. Please show up to the meetings. Join DSA. Join your local Dems. Let's get shit done instead of complain about it and do nothing.
Are Vermont conservatives different than
Nancy
national
Pelosi
conservatives?
doesn't care.
It's not...
Of course she doesn't care. That's why we need more people inside who do care. Because guess what? Nancy Pelosi ain't going to be there forever. Only way we get a seat at the table is if we kick him out.
Not big money conservatism. It's not right-wingism and warmongerism. In fact, Vermont has always had a very strong feeling about civil liberties. What conservatism means in Vermont basically is leave me alone, get the government off my back, and that's fine. It's a respect for other people's rights. We disagree, we'll talk it out. And that's a very different conservatism that says, let's go to war, supranationalism, and so forth.
If I were the president of the largest bank in Burlington, I'd be real nervous about you.
Well, they may be. They may be. But I think, and they are, but I think what we've often talked about also is that my powers as mayor are in many ways limited. And I have my visions as to what life should be.
One-Eyed Heathen? Talk with GamerG or Dragonfly in the Discord. They can give you some pretty good step-by-step instructions for calling.
be in Vermont, in Burlington, and in the United States. But within Burlington, I acknowledge everybody knows what my powers are, and they're very limited.
Right.
We're not.
Yeah, exactly, Smelanie. Tim Walz won over a lot of like conservative voters because, you know, it turns out the message of I want children to be able to eat before and during school was very popular.
Not going to go around nationalizing banks or nationalizing industry. In fact, we want industry in Vermont that pay decent wages, and we're going to go out and bring that in like every other mayor in the United States is. We are going to speak out, though, on national and international issues which affect the city of Burlington. For example, obviously, we're very concerned about Mr. Reagan's policies, which are impacting devastatingly on low-income and working people. We're concerned.
Oh yeah, no, Super Jet Guy, another part of it is that it leaves you weak politically to position yourself as like anti-police, because that signals to a lot of people in an election that like, oh, this guy doesn't want me safe, but this guy wants me safe. Like it sets up that kind of comparison, which is why a lot of even lefties who run for office will pay lip service to police unions.
Concerned about the policies in our own state government, which are affecting low-income people negatively.
Yeah.
But we know what our powers are within the city of Burlington.
When you sit around with your own friends talking about the world, how we got here, where we're going,
Right.
what's the biggest grievance? Give us your overview.
All right, what we're talking about is that we believe in democracy. I mean, the problem with the word socialism is that very often it's been equated with what happens in the Soviet Union, which is authoritarianism and totalitarianism. I believe very strongly in the right of dissent, and I think people with
Hell yeah, Bernie. Not succumbing to that tanky bullshit.
my ideas fight for those things very strongly. What we talk about is the fact that in our society, theoretically a democratic society, you have a handful of people who control our economy. You have maybe 2% of the population that owns 1/3 of the entire wealth of America, 80% of the stocks, 90% of the bonds. And these
I believe now the top 1% controls 50% of the wealth in America.
people have incredible power. They sit on huge corporations like the Chase Manhattan Bank, the multinational corporations, and they determine the destiny of our entire country. As you know, perhaps 50% of our population has so given up on the democratic process, they don't even vote, and those are primarily poor people.
Your state is thought of as not only beautiful, but the place you go to get away from all that big city smut and soot and all the crud and you've got those wonderful ski areas. Hooray, let's go. More tourism for Vermont. How do you feel about that?
Well, there's yes and no. I think we don't object to people coming into Vermont to spend money. That's fine. But we do know within our own state, we happen to be, sadly, one of the very poorest states in America. And many of the people in Vermont themselves cannot afford to go to the downhill skiing. We do more cross-country skiing. It's cheaper. What we are talking about is the kind of development that will provide decent jobs for our people. Very often, and this is a concern within our own state, is that industries such as the skiing industry and other tourist-attracting industries in Vermont, all over the country, and all over the world, they provide very low-paying, menial jobs. I'm not particularly proud that our state becomes a state where we have chambermaids and people waiting on other people. We would rather see our people doing meaningful, productive-type jobs where they can earn a decent wage.
Can you go to all those lunches, all of those banquets with the dais and the
Go,
speech?
Bernie out here demanding better jobs. You know, jobs that allow people to live.
And the cream chicken and all the wonderful Chamber of Commerce. Here we are, moving on.
Well, what I have said back home, and I say it again, is that our office is open. I've already talked to a number of business people. We will communicate. We're not shutting out anybody. But what I have also said is that what my concern is for the low-income people who are unemployed, who are working at minimum wage jobs, for the kids who are in Vermont as throughout the country. They're left out. They have no sense of
But
purpose.
everybody says that, Mayor.
Well, they're going to be coming into our door.
Do you want to tax, especially for people who make more than $25,000 a year?
Well, that for individuals, perhaps not for families. That's too low. You know, we have husbands and wives.
But you would consider legislation that would tax the wealthy.
Absolutely. We want to take the burden
Let's
off low-income and
go.
working people, and you've got to go to those institutions, those corporations, and those individuals who can better afford to pay.
You surprised everybody with this victory, including media. And not all media has been consistently attentive to you. Isn't that right?
I think what people were saying is, well, gee, Ronald Reagan is a right-wing guy, and what happened in Burlington, Vermont? And I think the answer to that is, I don't believe personally that the majority of people in America believe in Ronald Reagan's ideology. What happened was that Jimmy Carter failed. I think that's just clear as everybody.
Looks like we're getting Reagan 2.0, huh?
Mr. Carter would probably admit it. And people are looking for an alternative. Mr. Reagan, with hundreds of millions of dollars behind him, with sophisticated media use and so forth and so on, was able to say to the people, we are the alternative. Now, obviously, what we are trying to do, people like
this is resonating in a way I'm not quite comfortable with.
myself all around the country are saying, wait a minute, you're going to find out very soon that this guy is not the alternative. There are other alternatives.
Okay. I know these are terribly complicated questions and our time is up, but are you a capitalist?
No, I'm not a capitalist.
So you don't believe in the profit motive?
Chad! What a Chad!
Free enterprise, if I have a better mousetrap, I make more money.
There's something to be said for free enterprise on a local level and the competition. But what we're happening in our society is we don't live in a free enterprise society. You live in a corporate capitalist society where in virtually every single industry you have giant multi-billion-dollar corporations competing, driving the small businessman
But let's
out.
pretend it would work without...
Bernie Sanders is the blueprint of what we should demand from every politician we vote into office. Like, unironically, we should be able to demand better than what we currently get in Congress. Man has been consistent. Like, the second people deviate from, like, these ideas, they need to be primaried.
Without all that kind of acquisition of power that is unfair and doesn't...
Do I believe that the profit motive is fundamental to human nature? The answer is no. I think the spirit of cooperation, that you and I can work together better rather than having to compete against each other and destroy each other.
Bernard Sanders, mayor.
Bernie Sanders being like, look, I think the spirit of cooperation is even more strong because if I had to, I could beat you to death with this rock I have in my pocket.
Mayor, Burlington, Vermont. We'll watch with interest and wish you well.
I can take him. Oh, God. You know, in a lot of ways, we've come far since 1981, but you know, the struggle goes on, guys. When we look at the possibility of embracing socialist change, of you know, getting things like workplace democracy, getting you know, whether it's in union form or democratic co-op form, or you know, when we look to the future of like a Medicare for all, like these are long struggles. They can take years to form, you know? Spirit of cooperation is great, especially since I have all the coconuts. Oh no. But at the end of the day, I don't know. I'm hopeful with where things can go. If we actually bend ourselves to the task of organizing, I think we could make a lot of progress. You know, the Teamsters currently on strike to bring Amazon to heel. One of the things I wanted to point out is that this has been years in the making, because it reminded me that you know, just like 3 years ago, like they've been winning small victories, the workers at Amazon, for years. I mean, look at this. This is from 3 years ago. More Perfect Union put this out.
My name is Derek Palmer, and I'm a current Amazon employee at JFK 8 in Staten Island, New York. We're here on the ground trying to organize the Amazon union.
If we had a union, we would have people to stand up for the people that can't stand up for themselves.
Yo, Amazon can't stop y'all.
Absolutely not.
Isn't that funny? They put up the fence, but y'all couldn't set up right there. We all said that, like, yo, they really went out of their way to spend $1,000
Yeah, that was
on
crazy
what
when
we
we saw that.
I told you, man. This is only the beginning.
And we all know what happened in Alabama.
The effort to unionize the Bessemer Amazon facility has failed.
Those looking to organize the union said they may have lost this time, but they're not giving up.
I believe this is the foundation for something great that's about to happen.
They sparked a fuse all across the world.
That spark is what we needed. The lessons that I'll say that we learned is just to be more interactive with the workers. With Amazon, you know, they like to spend a lot of money on union busting campaigns. So if we're not out there every day, if we're not consistent, then Amazon can capitalize over that.
The first week of our union drive, we were kind of, getting our feet wet, just starting off. The second week, we had our May Day protest.
Whole street! Our street! Whole street! Our street!
And the third week, we had our barbecue.
Oh, some protest barbecue, let's go.
We wanted workers to eat good, number one, because working in Amazon, the food options are horrible. And number two, we wanted them to get all the information about the union.
Well, I think it's cool that they've had some food out here today. It just shows some commitment. And I know it takes a lot to be out here, however many hours a day dedicated to this cause.
The food, very much do appreciate. I'm not gonna lie. After my shift and the labor that I do appreciate this.
I'm organizing on the outside and also, as well on the inside. I'm talking to workers and, getting their feedback about what Amazon needs to work on. I have a lot of workers who, they want to be with the cause. They're just scared. We also have workers who...
Oh, yeah. Micah, you bring up Amazon posting security at the ballot boxes during the union vote in Alabama. Yeah, I remember talking about that years ago. And the Alabama unionization effort was undermined at every turn by Amazon. A collection of Amazon employees have been attempting to get a union recognized, and it's been approved by the NLRB, but Amazon has been contesting that approval in court. So there has been an official Amazon union for like 2 years now, but Amazon denies that it exists.
Who are just willing to sign right then and there. They just want a union, they want change.
Amazon, as you know, they're anti-union. You see the fencing.
How can it fail to be formed? The majority of workers at the plant have to vote for the union to be real, essentially.
They're putting up all the stuff to stop y'all from unionizing and organizing. Get discouraged.
Got you, bro.
We out here every day. We have legal representation if you need it.
Okay.
No, how can Amazon deny? Because being an officially recognized union in the eyes of the state confers legal protections to the union,
Brooklyn, man,
right, so your commute is crazy.
It's crazy, man.
And you working what, the 10-hour shift or the 12-hour shift?
12 hours, man.
Oh, so yeah, I used to be on RT too. So
yeah, man.
I know exactly what you're going through.
The treatment by management and leadership is just unacceptable. Amazon breaks its own rules all the time. They do it constantly. When it comes to productivity, they want that to be up there. Safety kind of takes a back seat for a little bit, but when they want to get rid of people, that's when they bring it right on back. They say, oh, you broke safety protocols or this, that, and the third. Everyone knows it's a complete load of bull.
The breaks are really fast because part of your break is also walking to the lunchroom. And the facility is big, and our break room is all the way on one side, and our location that you're in could be all the way on the opposite side of the facility. The same thing with the bathroom. If you take your time going, the managers are gonna come say something about it, but it's you have to go so far just to get water, just to use the bathroom. Females having to pay for pads and stuff in the bathroom, that bothers me too.
And I think it's kind of ironic now with them telling us, oh, don't sign a union card, nobody can pressure you into signing stuff. But Amazon pressures people into signing stuff a lot of times. They don't even...
Also, Amazon has been trying to say that the union isn't valid. The Amazon union isn't valid because the union has been forcing employees to sign that they support the union. Again, every accusation is a confession for Amazon.
Even tell people they have a choice sometimes.
My friend that has the disabilities, he had no one to advocate for him. He had no one to stand up for him. And because he had a disability, they treated him a different kind of way. They treated him wrong, So he couldn't speak out for himself, so they just fired him. And now he's struggling trying to find more work. We need to get this union started so everyone can have a voice.
If I had to say for Jeff Bezos, it would be just come on, man. We made you the richest man on the planet. We worked this entire COVID. We got nothing for it. We got a pat on the back and a good job. That's not right for somebody that made record-breaking money this year.
True. None of that wealth exists without these people.
Oh, got him. I'm fishing. I got you, brother.
You know, we started organizing right next to the bus stop. And, you know, we're trying to expand the operation by organizing at the ferry as well, setting up different tents in different locations. I've been employed with Amazon since July 24th, 2015, and I work at JFK 8, the building right behind me, as well as JFK. There's 3 other warehouses in the area, and the goal is to get them all unionized. If we keep going on the same pace that we've been going on, the goal is to finish the actual union drive before the end of the summer.
Information, donuts. Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good day at work. Okay.
I know most people are for it. They're all blue-collar people. Some of them had parents that were in unions, you know.
My dad, he was in a union because he worked for the steel company that helped build the World Trade Center. They pretty much helped him with everything that he needed as far as with his job.
Before I worked here, I worked at Stop and Shop. And the union that I was in was very beneficial because the managers that I had were not great people. So having a union and being able to have a voice at your job is very helpful.
I've been part of a union before in one of my previous jobs. I do think there are a lot of benefits. Workers always need to have protection. You know, it's always important for a worker to be treated as a person instead of a number that's easily disposable. And I think here, we definitely need that.
So this... I show that because this has been brewing for years now. And the efforts around this unionizing drive have resulted in 9 different facilities around the United States being associated with this strike. And that's really cool. We're making so much progress. 9,000 employees currently on strike with the Teamsters, with more seemingly joining in. A lot of solidarity across different branches of Amazon on this. And granted, there are 800,000 Amazon employees in the United States, but, like, this is a pretty solid start. Pretty solid start. It's very exciting to see. Let's see.
Shop great deals now.
Was it this one? Yeah, this is it.
Today we are picketing and actually striking today due to unfair working conditions and unfair wages.
If we don't get it,
Amazon has announced a raise for delivery drivers among increasing pressure from the Teamsters union. Members have been picketing company buildings since June. They also announced a $400 million investment in child care support and educational opportunities for its employees.
I'm building power now with my coworkers because Amazon is $1 trillion company, and straight up, the way that they treat their workers, it's disgraceful. They forget, in my opinion, that their workers are the reason that they're as big as they are. They're the reason that they're able to do what they're able to do. Every year, they talk about profit records. That's because of their workers, and it's time that their workers are treated the way that they should be, you know, with respect, with dignity, and it's time that they're given a bigger cut of the profit that they help produce.
Get that bag, sis.
Contract to help us so that we can get better wages, so that we can have a safe environment to work in. You're dropping off anywhere from 280 to 350 or maybe even 400 and change of packages a day.
We're being overworked and being underpaid as well. We are expected to scan so many boxes a day, and we don't even have enough workers in the warehouse.
My first day on the job, they nearly called an ambulance for me because they thought I was going to die on the job. And we have had an employee who did die on their first day on the job.
Oh my God.
That's how hard we work every day after day, to bring Amazon over $1 billion a year.
At the end of my shift at Amazon,
Sometimes, honestly, I feel like crying. Every bone, every muscle in my body aches. I'm exhausted. I've been pushed to the brink of breakdown because of the stress of the job.
We organized a union with the Teamsters because we wanted to have better living conditions, better wages, better health care.
Let's
It's
get
one of
it.
the most important things, because the majority of us do have children that we want to take care of.
Get up and join the fight. You know, join me and my coworkers at KSBD by standing up for yourselves with each other at your respective facilities, because this is $1 trillion company. They have the means to pay us a living wage, you know, to pay us what we deserve to be treated.
You know, it's really... watching this makes me so angry at Democrats. It makes me so angry at Kamala Harris and her campaign management. It makes me so angry because there are so many people in this country operating under terrible economic circumstances, and they're just getting burnt out and angrier and angrier and angrier. And like, you could have tapped into this. Like, I watch this and I feel like hope in my gut, and I feel like, you know, maybe we'll be able to band together and we'll be able to weather this, you know? And it's so frustrating to see it blazing so brightly and so plainly, and Democrats just don't get it. Senior Dems are just so out of touch.
They have the means to treat us with respect and give us dignity on the job by keeping our health and safety in mind. And so this is a really great opportunity for us to really send a message to Amazon as a
Gosh, I wonder why people are so Luigi pilled right now. Exactly, Rohak.
company that we as its workers have had enough, and that we're willing to stand with each other and for each other.
Let's go.
There's strength in numbers. We've gotten water on the floor. We've gotten the belt slowed down. We've gotten an increase in wages. Our actions are putting fear in them because of the power.
I did see the Washington Post article about how Biden was having cognitive problems even before 2020. And honestly, the amount of my turnism that the Democratic Party does is infuriating to me. You know, oh yeah, sure, put in Jerry Connolly, a guy who's gonna die in like 2 weeks from his throat cancer and or being 78 years old. Like, yeah, sure, put him in charge of the Senate Oversight Committee. Yeah, okay, awesome. It's his turn after all. It's not like we can react to our circumstances. It's his turn. It's his turn. How could you take it away from him? He's the little birthday boy. Really do be like that.
Of the numbers, we have to organize, join our fight. Don't be afraid. We are all in this together.
What? Does Joe Biden have cognitive problems? Well, too bad. It's his turn. He's a little birthday boy.
Major labor developments at Amazon. The Amazon Labor Union voted to join forces with the Teamsters. There are more than 1.3.
Is it also to say the Democratic voters are also kind of stupid? Why else would they vote for moderate Joe Biden over Bernie Sanders, who excited the base of the party? Because like older people aren't generally excited by Bernie Sanders. They viewed him like their entire lives as like a radical leftist socialist communist. You know, like older liberals are not exactly aligned when it comes to what, you know, progressives want. Sadly.
Million Teamsters, and the vote was overwhelming to join them. More than 98% were in favor.
It's possible. You can do it. Don't be afraid of anything. You can actually get it done. Get in here, get yourself together, get unionized. It helps.
Yeah, so the Teamsters are putting together like these flashy flashy ads, basically, like, yeah, we gonna fuck up Amazon's shit.
I believe that we are making history.
Making history, who wouldn't want to be a part of that?
Us being strike ready means we're fed up and Amazon is clearly ignoring us and we want to be heard.
This is really exciting. You know, we're taking steps for ourselves to win better conditions, to win better benefits, better wages.
I hope it just go ahead and touches every other place and everybody joins in at once.
You know, if you work union, you live better.
We're in a different place now because of the Teamsters. You know, that's why I want to fight to become union.
And we're ready to take the fight to Amazon. The fight is on.
Let's go, Teamsters! You know, critical support for the Teamsters. They may have been, you know, led by kind of a fucky guy in the 2024 election, but, you know, I support their labor action. But, yeah, a lot is going down here.
This video to our monitors right now.
Some of the news coverage of this, I just want to caution folks, when it comes to news coverage of this protest, be very careful where you're getting your information, because a lot of news outlets are just kind of regurgitating what Amazon corporate is putting out about the strike, and it's kind of disgusting. Here's an example of what I mean from CBS.
Look at this video to our monitors right now. This is petitions and picket lines across the United States by thousands of Amazon workers. These images are out of San Francisco, New York, and Illinois. The demands that they want met: higher wages, better benefits, and safer conditions at work. So CBS News correspondent Carter Evans joins us live in Los Angeles, where the workers are on the picket line. Carter, I can hear them right now. My question, if I'm a consumer right up the top, will this affect my pick and ship?
Well, you know, when I look at how they've been blocking the trucks here today, I would say potentially yes. I mean, what they've been doing is blocking the larger semi-trucks from coming out, and then you've seen those Amazon delivery trucks making circles on the parking lot, essentially trying to find different exits here. Amazon will tell you that this will not impact shipping whatsoever. This is a small number of locations that are being picketed, and your presents and gifts that
look, it's not going to impact anything.
Things that you ordered will arrive on time.
All right.
You know what? If Santa Claus gets some gifts late, okay? You can just tell them that the elves were unionizing.
So they are still making their case. They want a better work situation, but we do have a response from Teamsters. They say if your package is delayed during the holidays, you can blame Amazon and what they call insatiable greed. So do we think Amazon will come to the table eventually?
Well, you know, it doesn't look like it right now. Let me tell you what Amazon is saying back in response to that. They're saying what you see here are almost entirely outsiders, not Amazon employees or partners, and the suggestion otherwise is just another lie from the Teamsters.
I love that that Amazon's basically just saying they're all crisis actors.
Truth is that they were unable to get enough support from our employees.
Yeah, let's take the actual footage of the protest of real people and just put this direct quote from Amazon corporate up on screen, when, you know, you have a reporter right there. You have the statement from Amazon. Could that reporter not go and do some reporting by, like, say, talking to some of the protesters to see if they are in fact outsiders, as Amazon claims? Nah, that'd be too much work. Just regurgitate the company claim.
Partners that have brought in outsiders that have come and harassed to intimidate our team, which is inappropriate and dangerous. Now look, you know, I've talked with the Teamsters. They say over the last couple of years, they've signed up 8,000 to 9,000 Amazon employees, both warehouse workers and drivers. I think the question here is, are these third-party workers? Do they actually work for another company that is contracted for Amazon, or do they work for Amazon itself? Now, the Teamsters say, quote, Amazon is gaslighting the American public with their false narratives. For many years, the company has exploited and abused workers, and these workers are fed up and fighting back. The question is, you know, how many of the people behind me are actual Amazon workers or other Teamsters supporting them? I did talk to a couple Amazon employees headed in here today. They say they were not members of the union, and they're just trying to get to work.
Wow, and blocking trucks, as you report. Carter Evans, thank you so much. We love to see things as...
Excellent journalistic work. Good job. Really getting to the truth here. Just, the amount of bootlicking is honestly nauseating. But, yeah, it's, you know, we got a lot of really cool stuff happening right now, labor-wise. And again, if we can keep on, like, this pressure and ramp it up, get more of these places unionized, and then, again, set up their renegotiation dates for 2028. Oh, man, baby. Can you imagine? Can you imagine 2028 mass boycott, mass strike, general strike? We're inching closer. I really love the encroachment of union power. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's the only thing that we currently have, by the way, that will actually push back on corporate power. Like, the labor movement in this country is kind of our last line of defense that we have available to us in a lot of cases. That is why I want you guys to get involved in DSA, because DSA can help you both apply pressure to Dems and also extend that worker power. And both of those things are things we are going to need in ample supply as we go forward. Yeah, Rhombus, I added the trombonage emote over on YouTube. Now,
funded by viewers like you.
Let's check in with our fan favorite Amy Goodman, who's talking about the Amazon workers, and I believe this involves an interview with one of the organizers.
Please support our work at democracynow.org/give.
We love you, Amy.
Thousands of Amazon workers organizing with the Teamsters Union have launched the largest strike against Amazon in U.S. history. In the midst of peak holiday shopping season, drivers and workers at 7 facilities in New York, Georgia, Illinois, and California went on strike Thursday to pressure Amazon to come to the negotiating table as workers demand better benefits, higher wages, and safer working conditions. The strike comes days...
All of which very reasonable. Like, pay them enough of a wage to live. Give them enough time to pee and, like, eat a snack. And maybe don't put them in conditions that will result in their death. You know, these are very reasonable demands.
Days after the Senate Labor Committee, led by Senator Bernie Sanders, published a report that found Amazon systematically ignores and rejects recommended worker safety measures and deliberately misrepresents workplace injury data. This is a video from the Teamsters with workers explaining why they're joining the strike.
I believe a strike is definitely going to make Amazon realize that we're not playing, we're serious.
BBK4 has started a revolution, and I believe that Amazon will turn under the pressure and cave in and pay us.
Amazon is not respecting us. We've been trying to get Amazon to recognize us as Teamsters, and they're not coming to the table.
And that's why now we are ready to strike them, to actually show them what exactly we are fighting for.
On Wednesday night, just before the strike began, Amazon founder Jeff Bezos dined with President-elect Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk.
Yeah, one of the things I want to go over maybe after this story is the Kristen Sinema exit interview, because it's absolutely insane.
Mar-a-Lago. Bezos also committed to donate $1 million to Trump's inauguration fund through Amazon. As workers continue to join picket lines at hundreds of Amazon fulfillment centers across the country, Amazon spokesperson Kelly Nantel claimed in a statement most of the workers on strike are, quote, almost entirely outsiders, not Amazon employees
Citation
or partners,
needed.
and the suggestion otherwise is just another lie from the Teamsters, unquote. The $2 trillion company employs more than 1.5 million people. The Teamsters represent about 10,000 workers. Teamsters President Sean O'Brien said in a statement, quote, "If your package is delayed during the holidays, you can blame Amazon's insatiable greed. We gave Amazon a clear deadline to come to the table and do right by our members. They ignored it," unquote. For more, we're joined by two guests. Ron Sewell is with us, an Amazon associate at Amazon facility in East Point, Georgia. He's joining us from Fort Worth, Texas. And here in New York, we're joined by Connor Spence, the president of the only Amazon local, ALU-IBT Local 1, at the Staten Island Amazon warehouse, the first Amazon facility to unionize. We welcome you both to Democracy Now! Connor, let's begin with you.
Yeah, I know that there was like some kind of falling out between the Amazon union and Chris Smalls, but I don't know the details about that, if anyone has that info handy in chat.
Explain this strike and respond to Amazon saying these are all outsiders who are striking.
Yeah, so for more than 2 years at our facility, JFK in Staten Island, Amazon has been refusing to come to the table, negotiate a strong union contract with the workers. This is obviously in violation of federal law. Now across the country, they have this same obligation with bargaining units, over 20 of them across 10 states. We are all joined together as part of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters, National Amazon Division, and we're engaging in a coordinated action to try to put the pressure on Amazon, stop breaking the law, come to the table. This is an unfair labor practice strike over their refusal to bargain.
And can you talk more about the significance of this largest strike against Amazon in history?
Well, in the U.S., there hasn't been large coordinated action like this. And actually, I do want to comment on the point Amazon is trying to make, that this is somehow just an outsider action. You can go to any one of these picket lines where the workers have walked off the job and see that's not the case. Last time I was on the
Yeah, if only there were reporters on the ground next to some of these protests to, I don't know, talk with them to see whether or not they're outsiders.
The show I talked about how Amazon has 150% turnover in their warehouses nationwide. Something like this, organized on this scale, has to be internal, has to be worker to worker, it has to come from the inside. The idea that this could be done by outsiders is just ridiculous on Amazon's part. It's really a narrative I think they want to push so that other workers who are not yet organizing don't see this and become inspired that they can also fight to change their conditions.
At the Amazon picket line in Queens here in New York Thursday, police arrested, then released Teamsters organizer Anthony Rosario, as well as Jagran Cardenas, one of the striking Amazon workers. NYPD agents also threatened the crowd with mass arrest. Journalist Luis Feliz Leon of Labor Notes captured...
Again, this is why I do not respect police unions. They show no solidarity whatsoever.
The moment of Cardenas's arrest. New York police officers swarmed Cardenas and blocked him in the cab of his van.
No solidarity.
I already know. You good. You good. You gonna get out. Be good. You good. Yo, you good. You good. He ain't do nothing. He ain't do nothing. Yo, get
Oh my God. Look at how tall that guy is.
So if you can describe the scene and the scene around the country, Connor.
I would say there's a lot of energy, a lot of activity. I mean, I don't think it's like, I think it's very significant to point out to people that it's the dead of winter. We're nearing the holidays. People would rather walk off the job than spend another day in the warehouse under those conditions. And I think you can really, when you go to these picket lines, you can feel that energy. The workers they're tired, they feel exploited, they feel abused. And the only thing stopping more workers from taking action is just the time it takes to organize in these conditions. And it's gonna keep building, and you can sense that when you're on the line.
I wanted to also bring in Ron Sewell, Amazon associate working in East Point, Georgia, also an Amazon Learning Ambassador, helps train new hires and other associates punished by Amazon for organizing on safety issues. He filed an unfair labor practice against Amazon, and Amazon settled. He's usually in Georgia, but now in Fort Worth, Texas. Talk about the issues that you face and other workers face.
Thank you for having me. Yes, the issues that we face there is the common safety issues such as clean water, cool air in the South.
Like, I mean, these are the most basic demands. Like, hey, we need water to drink on the job. Hey, we need temperatures that won't result in us overheating and dying. Like, these are extraordinarily reasonable things to expect your employer to provide.
Overheating building, people passing out, and no, when I say no response from management to even speak with us or talk with us. And therefore, that's why we are in strong support of the New York picketers. And we're doing the same thing here in the location, East Point.
Can you talk about the dangers that workers face, the level of injury on the job? Talk about what Senator Sanders talked about in the Senate.
Well, the dangers in the job, what Senator Sanders talked about, is real. We have employees just recently, last week, I had to assist an employee who passed out that was working the early morning, and he was trying to get to a place where he can sit down either in the break room or in the restroom, but before he even reached that area, he passed out on the floor in front of me, hitting his head, hitting his face. So the danger is real. It's not something that we're making up. We have an older population as well as younger populations, and that's something.
Amazon warehouses sound absolutely miserable. Like, this would not be fun or easy work, or like, you know, like under normal circumstances, but we're talking about like difficult work that is also killing you.
Health-wise, safe-wise, that we submitted a request to OSHA, and we got a visit by them, and they went through the whole facility.
Has ATL 6 in Atlanta and East Point unionized?
No, we have not unionized, but we do have the full support of the Teamsters and what have you. And we are fighting for our individual rights. And we will continue doing that and continue supporting the Teamsters and all others in getting Amazon to come, at least management, talk with us, listen to our demands, listen to our concerns.
If you can explain who's unionized and who hasn't, Connor, and explain your position. You're the only president of a local Amazon Teamsters unit.
So in 2022, we were the first warehouse to win an actual NLRB election. Since then, many other warehouses across the country have gone through the NLRB process, not quite the same way we did. Instead, they signed a majority of their coworkers on union cards, demonstrated that majority of the company. The company.
Cute dark arts. Oh, mommy.
Under a newer NLRB ruling had about 2 weeks to contest that majority, file elections with the NLRB. They refused to do so. So in doing so, it was a tacit recognition that those majorities exist. And therefore, that has happened in over 20 bargaining units across the country. And that number continues to grow as the movement expands and we organize more workers.
The Teamsters president, O'Brien, spoke controversially at the Republican convention.
Oh, man.
Do you think
so many of you have not been, so many of you are so new to my channel. Oh, God. On Twitch, people have channel points that they can redeem for me to do little sound bites. That was one of them.
Think unions will do better under Trump?
I mean, I think it remains to be seen. I'm very much a fan of the current NLRB General Counsel, Jennifer Abruzzo. But I think that ultimately what we've learned, even in the past 4 years under Biden, is that the NLRB is not the main instrument of change here. It's building worker power, and we have to do that under any administration, under any NLRB.
And are you calling for people not to use Amazon, to boycott Amazon?
I think a better thing for me to say is if you choose to shop on Amazon this holiday, a good thing to do would be to meet with your driver, have a conversation with them when they drop off your package, ask them about their working conditions.
I also sometimes do, Daddy, or Awooga. Those are some other ones.
If there are things they would want to change, tell them that you've seen Amazon workers organizing on TV, that they should consider joining the Teamsters, and they have the full support of you and the community if they choose to do that.
Democracy Now! Is funded by viewers like you. Please give today at Democracy Now!
I very much enjoy, like, the bend of this particular, I don't know, what's going on in the unionizing movement. I think the solidarity and the long arm of history are marching towards 2028, and I'm expecting I'm trying not to get too hopeful, but I'm kind of expecting great things for the 2028 renegotiation of contracts. I know that sounds weird and maybe boring, but like it's gonna be really interesting and really important. Oh yeah, I also do. Yeah. Or awooga. Yeah. How long is history's arm exactly? God damn it.
On Amazon. Woo! Every package we deliver with pain and suffering.
This is my third holiday I'm giving to Amazon. I haven't been around for Thanksgiving or Christmas.
It's constant speed up for the holidays.
It's like twice as dangerous, I would say, because everyone's moving twice as fast and there's twice as much work.
Every horror story you read about Amazon is true, but worse. And that is why I voted yes for the strike.
Workers at the only unionized Amazon warehouse are going on strike during the company's busiest season.
Ultimately, Amazon only speaks one language, and that's money. We're going to hit them where it hurts until they decide it's time to come to the table.
Workers with the ALU plan to strike the JFK 8 facility on Staten Island later in December.
We can't wait anymore.
We're not joking around here. Right now, it is peak season at Amazon. It's Amazon's most profitable time of year.
Well, it's pretty typical of Amazon to call mandatory overtime every holiday season.
They've been asking for us to work 11.5-hour days, 5 days a week.
With the lunch break, it's a 12-hour and 30-minute shift, so you're there majority of the day, majority of the week.
They have no right to demand that of their workers when
12.5 hours a day, a majority of your day spent doing Amazon work. Oh my God.
They could fulfill those same roles with voluntary extra time and surge pay for the workers that want to take it on.
Workers say peak season exacerbates existing safety issues.
It's extremely chaotic, especially at that time. Management is really looking to push numbers. That means cutting a lot of corners, bending the rules, pushing conditions that are unsafe.
I mean, a lot of times the conveyor belts get backed up, so you're packing boxes, but you can't even put them on the conveyor belt. You're forced to build up stacks of boxes around you. There's no room on the floor to walk. Yeah, just safety hazards everywhere.
Despite employing only 36% of warehouse workers in 2022, Amazon was responsible for 53% of all injuries in the warehouse industry.
Damn.
Amazon is fine to let people die in the wake of tornadoes and any kind of natural disaster. for their profits. And we, as Amazon workers, know what we deserve. And we're not going to take it anymore.
Workers at the JFK 8 Amazon warehouse on Staten Island voted to unionize in 2022, but they still don't have a contract.
Amazon is pretending like it never happened.
Their stance is, we don't exist.
And they ignore everything from the NLRB.
And right now they're in federal court arguing that unions are unconstitutional.
Amazon.
Yeah, that's a court case to keep an eye on, by the way. Has the potential to be really not good for everybody.
Is one of the wealthiest companies in the world. They can keep us in court for the rest of time. The only thing that will get them to negotiate a union contract with us is impacting their bottom line.
We've pledged several hundred workers so far to participate, and we're still working and organizing and building up our structure in JFK so we can hopefully mobilize a lot more and really impact productions this year.
Trying to show Amazon we're fed up, we're done.
A lot of us don't want to go on strike. You know, we want to work, but we want to work for fair wages. We want to work for at least $30 an hour. We want to get adequate breaks so that we're...
Yeah, that the joy, the magic of Christmas, it should run on a living wage.
We're not getting injured all the time. We want to be able to go to the bathroom and drink water without getting written up. And if we have to go on strike to make Amazon come to the table and give us the respect that we deserve, then we're going to do it.
Let's go, baby. I know that they're trying to bring in scabs, but you know what? I'm feeling good about this. I'm feeling like they might actually get some recognition. So I'm feeling good about this. They've been on a trajectory here at Amazon to like get more and more facilities unionized. I think they're up to like 10 now. Whereas just a handful of years ago it was 1. And now we're up to 10. In 2 years we've gone from 1 to 10 unionized facilities. That bodes very well for future unionization efforts. So I did very good signs coming out of this protest. And just remember, don't hold it against Amazon workers. They're just trying to be able to live in this crazy world. So don't be mad if a package or two is late.